Good morning, world. Today is the 12th day of January. It's a Sunday in the Bahamas, and one likes to always speak truth, as Kai Mills see it. 5 months in after Hurricane Dorian, and it's interesting that you see on television whenever I'm in Nassau, because you can't get television, all the normal necessities you cannot get. And when I see monthly meeting of such and such constituents by their member of parliament, I say, wow, these guys continue to have monthly meeting. We have went through a storm that is still lasting because of the lack of representation by our member of parliament there in Henfield. How could you go and represent the country abroad when 5 months in, the minister responsible there in Henfield for foreign affairs cannot even meet the needs of local affairs, does not, will not respect the people that brought him to Parliament? You see, when a house is being built and the foundation is not secure, the whole house would crumble. Those of us in North Abaco that put our name forward to represent North Abaco live in Abaco. Darren Henfield came in at the last hour, illegally, in my opinion, because the nomination was closed and he sat at the table. But before he did that, he went and negotiated on behalf of himself that if he's elected, he will be a minister, without even asking Abaco if, do, shall we have him as our representative. The sad thing about it is that nobody in Abaco had a say on Darren getting the nomination 1 week before the deadline or after the deadline. 5 months in. I saw it whenever I got to watch television. I saw him there on the international stage, just making a complete idiot of himself. Persons wanting to donate from all countries. This is what Darren say: the brilliant lieutenant, the brilliant attorney, the brilliant affair officer, minister of foreign affairs. He told the people that he will assess the damage, then he will get back to them. Boy, I just said, what an idiot. You ask the people, the international community, what can they give? Don't tell them you're coming back. That is so idiotic. You only come back if you needed more. But you put their hands to the fire. How much can you help? While they feel remorseful. But he's still coming back to home. Haiti got about $20 billion after the earthquake. We can't even get $100 million after hurricane, because people like Darren Dose was micromanaging who shall bring stuff. That was the dumbest idea I've ever seen. If people want to donate stuff, bring it. Like Pitland said a long time ago, they could build a hotel, but they can't take it back. So once the stuff is here, it is here. And I heard the stories back and forth of how many persons wanting to donate, but the government want to know who they are they there for them, they mean well by Abaco. That stopped so much, and it hurts so much the people like myself that still 5 months in, the people of North Abaco has not had a meeting with their MP, while people in Nassau still having monthly meeting. We haven't had a yearly meeting after Category 5 hurricane. Our member of parliament have not sit down with us one day. He went to every other key, but the smartness of his lieutenantship, his ministerial position got to his head. He believes that he's too big to sit down with the local people. It was so hurtful during the election that minutes alone picked Darren Henfield, and Darren Henfield couldn't vote for himself. James Albury had to give up his United States citizenship to run. He was never, ever a Bahamian in all his life. You imagine a fella had to give up his birthplace to run for the F&M? That is so bad. Boy, and I bet they are so sorry and ashamed for that. I can say I'm putting up them posters every time the rain fall. Before the rain can stop falling, they putting up posters for James Albury, Darren Henfield. These are the people that are hurting the most. You think he would call them? I see some sacrifice their job flying around with flags on their vehicle as government employees because they saw sure that Darren would be the one that would make Abaco different, that will truly give us some representation. This one is for the international community that donated millions of dollars to the people of North Abaco, Abaco proper, and Grand Bahama. To date, I don't know what's going on in Grand Bahama, but the government has issued 2 huge contracts. Bahama Striping is getting everything in excess of $7 million for the eradication of the Haitians, the mud, the peace, sandbanks. Then we have an unbelievable contract of another $7 million in Spring City to put temporary shelters right on the edge, 1 foot from the road, from the highway. They're building the shelter. Nowhere to park, no access for parking, right into a community that the Prime Minister just opened just before the hurricane, just to undervaluate people already low-cost home. How can you, as a responsible government, give $7 million for temporary shelters when if you give $3 million, all the homes that were destroyed in Spring City would be rebuilt with $4 million to bring into Dundas, Murphy, Mashaba? But it's obvious that somebody's getting a payback. We in Abaco smell a rat, and this rat is as big as a cat. How could you spend $7 million on temporary shelter? 5 months in, the government have already spent over $14 million. And the money that is allocated for our suffering, we haven't got 1 nail, we haven't got 1 piece of plywood, 1 roll of ice water shield. We haven't got nothing. Abaco has not seen nothing. Yet the government who is entrusted with our money, you see, it's our money that they're holding. They actually stopped telling us how much. We didn't even know how much they have collected to date. We know how much they have spent not helping us. But how could it be, international community, that you give this money to help the persons that were affected by hurricane, when to date, not one single home has been rebuilt or repaired by the government. I know about 8 million, but the government is going to come into Abaco. Today is the 12th, on the 13th, a hard luck number, and they're going to come and assess whether we should get 10,000, 2,000, depending on the need. But watch this. The government that have our $8 million that we and the international community entrusted them to displace this money. We haven't seen $1 yet, 5 months in, nor have we had any meetings with the government on how this money should be dispersed. But they going to sit at the table and going to bring us $10,000 maybe. And they don't trust us with $10,000. They're going to decide who the contractor is, when he should get paid, when he should not get paid. That is unacceptable. We trust you with $8 million to date, and you don't trust us with $10,000. Then we look at all the agency, people that rent their vehicle to Bahama Power and Light, the persons that doing the cleanup. 3-4 months in, you can't get $1. Where is the money? They say there's a process. The process shouldn't be to a point that it's going to cause a lot more hardship and suffering, even for the people that are cleaning up. They find it hard to find fuel to pay their staff because 3-4 months in, the process is at a snail pace. Where is the money? Over $8 million has evacuated, and the people of Abaco haven't seen anything on the ground. Watch this. One guy said he's going to clean up North Abaco that had very minimum damage. You want to see something? Let the Defense Force go into the homes in the Copperstan that has electricity and see how many homes have 2 and 3 generators in the corner in the box that not being used. This is what's happening in Abaco. The persons that need help the most is not getting it. Cooperstown has all the generators. Now they're getting all the help first, and they have very minimum damage. This is unacceptable by a caring government. That is why you need an MP that's on the ground, that knows the need, and bring the help to their most suffering people. To date, they're in Henfield, flying all over the world, but he refused to have a meeting with his people after Category 5 hurricane. 5 months in, they haven't brought in 50 shingles to help North Abaco, but they brought in plenty bulldozer to clean up the mud, the peas, and sandbanks. It's one of these Sunday morning Kai Care video. You're live with an uncaring government that we have to suffer through for another couple of years. Kai Care. That's why he's here.